If you haven't seen part 1 of this series, definitely go check it out. In that video, I talk about in-depth treatments like microneedling and chemical peels that can really jumpstart your journey to smoother forehead skin. It's a great foundation if you're ready for results fast. But today's video is all about what you can do at home to prevent new lines and maintain your results. We're talking lymphatic drainage, skin hydration, smart skincare, and microcurrent techniques. These steps are often overlooked, but they're so important, and I'll explain exactly why. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get started with one of the most relaxing and effective techniques, which is facial massage and lymphatic drainage. Forehead tension builds up from stress and repetitive expressions. If that tension just sits there, it leads to deeper lines. So we want to actually move the fluid, stimulate the muscles gently, and release that tension. Check out the Organic Esthetician and a quick way to release tension and massage the forehead. The Organic Esthetician, and I will link that video down below, but she is literally my go-to when I want to know information about facial massage and microcurrent techniques. She is the person that I always go to. So check it out. And she talks about microcurrent techniques in this video as well, which I'm going to kind of grab and take some of that out and put it in here as well. But she is wonderful, and I get a lot of my microcurrent techniques from her. Okay, so when we're talking about massage and lymphatic drainage in the forehead, you're going to want to use light upward strokes from the center of the forehead out toward the temples. You can also do gentle tapping with your fingertips to stimulate circulation. And then for lymphatic drainage, always start at the clavicle and then move up on the face and then back down. You do not want to forget your scalp. And this is something that I've been doing now for about a couple of weeks, is really focusing on releasing tension in the scalp, because a tight scalp equals a tight forehead. Makes sense, right? Now you can use something like the Amiro tool to release tension. You could definitely just use your fingers to release tension, or one of those scalp massagers, which I do have. It's in the shower right now, and just kind of go in circular motions. But I like to do this about 5 minutes each night, because I am that person that holds tension in the shoulders and the neck and up in this area. And that is a great way to release the tension, and that's going to help with these forehead lines as well. Also, if you have this device, the JOVS Slimax actually has a mode. It's called the massage mode that helps to relax the scalp. And you add on this little tool, and you're literally just going like this, and that's going to help to release tension also in the scalp. Okay. So like I said, you can also use your fingers. You do not need to use the JOVS, but I always like to give you a lot of option, because I have people that are like beauty device junkies, and then people that like to keep it simple. So it really does make a big difference. So I have been doing a lot of releasing that tension every single night, and I feel like it's definitely making a difference in those forehead lines. Let's also now talk about microcurrent. Now, I really love to use microcurrent to iron out those wrinkles, but not all microcurrent devices are the same. And I literally keep saying this every video that I do in microcurrent, because it is the truth. And let me tell you my favorite. But before I get started with that, in part 1 of my video, I had stated that radiofrequency and microcurrent are not my best options when we are talking about minimizing deep forehead wrinkles. And I still stand by that statement. And this is just me personally, in my opinion, just because I feel like you need something a way more intense, like chemical peels, to really produce major change at home. Microcurrent, to me, can definitely help to minimize, and it can definitely help to maintain. Okay, just want to be clear on that. But one of my favorite devices for microcurrent is actually the Myolift Mini. And the reason that I love the Myolift Mini is because it has these two probes, and it also has the erase mode. And this is where microcurrents are not all the same. So the erase mode actually helps to lengthen those muscles. And that is what you want when we are talking about the forehead and those fine lines around the eye area, as well as the fine lines around here. You do not want microcurrent devices that only have one mode, and they're usually in that mode that contracts the muscle or kind of it shortens the muscle. When you shorten the muscle, like that's what you want for like these larger muscles. You actually want to shorten the muscle. That's going to help to give it more of a lift, okay? So you don't want to shorten the muscles. We're talking about the forehead and the line because it is actually, the more you shorten it, it's actually going to create even more wrinkles. Does that make sense? So that on the Myolift, that mode is the educate mode. So when we're talking about lengthening the muscles, we want to use the erase mode. And I like these two probes because of the mere fact that you can really get in there and you can create some tension, and you're going to want to pull apart like the 11s, and you want to create some tension in these, like create tension pulling the skin apart, if that's what I mean. And then you're going to want to go like this, pull those lines apart. Okay, that's why I love this. I love the Myolift Mini for that. Now the Myolift QT Plus, which is their handheld device, also has the erase mode. It's definitely okay. It's not as good, in my opinion, as the Mini with those two probes. If you are going to use this on the erase mode on the forehead, I suggest using your other hand to create that tension and pull it apart. Does that make sense if you're using the erase? Also, you can do that on these lines. So I'm pulling down on this finger and I'm pulling up on this finger. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you have the Ziip, be mindful of where you apply it. Again, I credit Organic Esthetician on this information. Don't use traditional microcurrent directly on the center of the forehead unless it is nanocurrent. So there's nanocurrent in this, and she's got a lot of different waveforms in the Ziip, and the nanocurrent you could definitely use on there, no problem. The other treatments that are actual microcurrent, go ahead and use it. Like, don't use it here because, again, we don't want to contract it. We want it to lengthen it. And she suggests to use it way up here, and you're going like this, because then that is going to lift this. I thought that was a great idea. So wanted to share that with you. So let's go ahead now and talk about skincare. This is where the daily magic happens, and it's so important that you are giving yourself the right skin food to treat the forehead lines. So here are the top ingredients I recommend for forehead lines, and if I missed anything, please let us know in the comment section. I'd love to know like your best forehead serums or moisturizers, but my favorite one is arginine, okay? It is a peptide that relaxes muscle tension. It's often called Botox in a bottle. But please note, it's definitely not going to give you a Botox-like effect where it's frozen. You're not going to get that at all. But it definitely helps to relax those muscles in the forehead or wherever you use it. You can use it here. You can use it around the mouth. The Ordinary has a beautiful arginine. I think it's at 10%. That is a really affordable one. Another one that I've been playing around with right now is the Snoxin 2. This is by Indeed. This is a gorgeous one. And this is kind of got this really light kind of gel. Not sure if you can see that texture. And it is very light. It melts right into the skin. So if you're a makeup wearer, you can definitely, no problem, put makeup on there. It's gorgeous. This is the one I've been testing so far. I've been really liking it. And then another ingredient that you're going to want is retinol. Retinol helps not only with cell turnover, but collagen production. We want to get collagen production in that area to produce more collagen, which is going to give you that plumpness, which is going to minimize those fine lines and wrinkles. So start slow if you are new to retinol, and always go in like 2 times a week and slowly increase. Wait a few weeks, then go to 3 times a week, wait a few weeks, and then go to 4. You see what I'm saying? And you're always going to want to buffer it with a moisturizer or even an oil if you know, whatever you want. But I want to share with you some of my favorite retinols, and I want to talk a little bit about I think it's really important to kind of, if you can, get on the highest form of a over-the-counter retinol, which is retinaldehyde, or retinal, which is the AL. The retinol with the OL is it's going to be great for beginners. Okay. So even that one, the retinol with an OL for beginners, you're still going to want to start out at 2 times a week and then gradually increase. So let's talk about some of my favorite retinols with the OL. This is the Dermatology. This is the 0.5. This is absolutely stunning. Another one is Photozyme MD. Beautiful. If you are not a retinol fan at all and you really like an alternative type of retinoid like bakuchiol, you might want to check out this one by Perito. This is gorgeous. This is their Timeless Bloom bakuchiol. It's supposed to do very similar things that retinoids do without the irritation and be great for sensitive skin. Another one you might want to check out is Mother Science. This is really gorgeous. And they don't use bakuchiol. They actually use malicicine or malicicin. I'll put that here. A new alternative. This is kind of like the latest and greatest. This is a really gorgeous one as well. And if you're more like that oil person rather than a moisturizer person, you might even just want to check out a retinol with oil, and that's going to be like your one product. 2 product, I should say 2 ingredients in one, or 2 products in one, if you know what I'm saying. This one is a beautiful one. This is by Drunk Elephant. They're 0.5 retinol, and it also has ceramides, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, but it has that oil structure. See, it's gorgeous. You're going to put this on as the last part of your skincare routine. Okay. And then this one is very similar, sleeping oil that also has the retinol, is by Sunday Riley, and this is by Luna, or excuse me, it is called their Luna. This one is like kind of a bluish green. Look at how pretty that is. But don't worry, it's not going to stay that on your skin. You can see that it gives a beautiful, you know, just a beautiful sheen. Never going to want to use this during the day. Always use it in the evening. And when we're talking about oils, because I've had this a couple of times with people, they just kind of like to lather oils on. You don't need to lather it on. You want just a very little bit. You are literally just using like 1, 2, maybe 3. Okay. And I like to go like this, get it on the tip of the fingers as well, all over, and then you are literally just pressing it into the skin. That is all that you need to do. You do not need to lather on oil, and I suggest that you don't. First of all, you're just using too much. It could probably clog the pores. Also, you're just going to go through it really quickly, so it's going to last so much longer, and you don't need that much. So absolutely, those are some of my favorites. Now, if you're moving up and you want to get into like a retinaldehyde, or the retinal, which is AL at the end instead of the OL. Naturium has some great ones. This is their 0.10. They also have a 0.5. So start out the 0.5 and then you can work your up to 0.10. The Osmosis is a great one as well. That is really wonderful. Let us know your favorite retinoid. I would love to know. Also tretinoin. I mean, you can get a prescription-based retinoid, which is tretinoin, and that is much higher in concentration than the retinaldehyde. Okay, I just don't use it anymore because it's just a little too irritating for my skin. But I do play around with different types of retinols and retinals. So I go back and forth, actually. I use a retinaldehyde or a retinal a few times a week, and then I go in with the gentler one a few times a week as well. It just kind of really depends. So I like kind of playing around with different types throughout the week, because I get a lot of those questions as well. Can I kind of combine? You absolutely can. So just, yeah, you definitely can. The last thing that I think is really important is going in with a glycolic acid or some sort of gentle exfoliant. Now, I like glycolic acid because not only is it going to help to brighten, but it's going to help to build collagen, and it's going to help with cell turnover, and it's going to be a great exfoliation to help remove dead skin, and it allows also serums to penetrate deeper and better into the skin because you're exfoliating that top layer of skin, and it also does help with minimization of wrinkles. So glycolic acid, you're definitely only going to want to do this like once or twice a week. I like the ordinary 7%, put it on a little, cotton pad, and you're just doing a swipe, okay? All over the face. Always test. Always do a little test to see if it's going to irritate your skin. You might want to go in one time a week. If you have really sensitive skin, try a lactic acid. Lactic acid is wonderful as well. And that is definitely, I think, a great starter for beginners. Now, if you are like wanting to bump up and you've been doing like a 7%, I mean, they do also have glycolic pads out. Like this one is 35% glycolic acid pads. This is definitely not going to be for your beginner. This is going to be someone that has more hardy skin, that you've been doing these types of things for years. I can do these about once or twice a month is kind of how I do it. And then I use the ordinary a couple of times a week. So I hope that that helps. I also will post a link to my shop that kind of shows you everything and some products that, I love, that I recommend. And there's price ranges from, affordable to mid to even high. Everyone is very different. So I'm very aware of that. So I will give you, all that information as well. So hydration is so important, not only just drinking plenty of water, but it's also important to use products with ingredients like hyaluronic acid, beta-glucan, ceramides. Remember, I told you the drunk elephant also has ceramides in it as well. So that's going to help heal and protect the skin barrier while adding some also hydration to the skin. And the last thing that I want to share with you is face tape or silicone patches. A super simple but powerful tool. And I think a lot of people, they're really just kind of underrated. They're just like, well, they really do work. I'm telling you, they do work. There's silicone patches for the forehead that you can use. There's also other facial tape that you can use. I actually prefer forehead tape rather than silicone patches. I just find that silicone patches don't stay on my forehead while I'm sleeping. And that's when you're going to want to use them, is while you are sleeping. They help to smooth out expression lines overnight by creating a moisture locking barrier and keeping the skin taut. Now, what I like to do and how I use them is, if you've been following me, you know that I love Bloom Body skin tape. I like the ones that, they're actually the ones that go here for the nasal labial folds, and you can definitely use them there. I actually like to use those ones underneath the eye because I get puffy eyes when I wake up, and I swear by those. But you can I use the other ones that she has, and I kind of cut them, and I will put them here and on my 11s. And what you want to do is, I like to kind of pull apart the line, because I get the lines here. I pull it apart and then I put the tape on so that, it's like ironing it out. I hope that makes sense. And of course, the last thing that you're definitely going to want is SPF, because if you don't wear your SPF every day, then nothing is going to work, because the reason that we age 80% or above is the sun. It helps break down collagen, and it just dries out the skin, and we age prematurely. So you need to be wearing your SPF. I like an SPF of 40 or above, and I always wear a big hat as well if I'm going to be out for long periods of time. So it's just important to find the right SPF for you that is cosmetically elegant enough to want to wear every single day. And I've got a whole list of them, and I will share that with you as well. These steps can definitely make a huge difference in maintaining your results and preventing deeper lines. As with anything, give it time, be patient, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. And also, if you've tried any of these techniques, let us know. We would all love to to know, and I love hearing from you. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you do not miss my upcoming videos. Until next time.